Right, morning everyone. It's just coming up to 6:45 on Sunday the 10th of September, and I'm back on the club lake again. And as you can see, I've moved to the opposite side of the opposite side of the lake. Previously I had fished over in those swims there, but as I said on the last video, I'm going to give some of the other areas a bit of a go now. So I've come over the other side. I've got all the gear out of the car, so I'm just going to get that set up and we're going to get fishing. It's supposed to be probably the hottest day, certainly of September, but potentially even of the year. It's supposed to be 32, 33 degrees today. We've had temperatures above 30 degrees all week, so we're having a real final fling of summer, but hopefully we can get the fish feeding again. So I'm going to get everything set up and see how it goes. Right, it's just gone 7:30. You can see I've got everything set up. Both the rods are out. Right hand rod is over to the right hand side of the island. Basically is pretty much as far as I could chuck it with a PVA stick on it. I've seen a number of fish already showing in that area, so I've baited up on that spot. Got the throwing stick out and put a load of the boilies over in and around the area, and then the left hand rod is out towards the point of the island, about 2/3 of the way across. Again, seen plenty of fish showing. Had a number of fish crash out already, all over the lake really, so they do seem to be really active on here. They certainly don't mind showing themselves. But I've got the shelter set up just because it's going to get so hot today. I'm going to need somewhere that I can hide away from the sun, otherwise I'm going to get burnt to a crisp. So as and when the sun starts to get up and get really warm, it's probably already about 23, 24 degrees. But as I said, it's going to be going up to 32, 33 degrees. And I cannot be sat out here whilst that's going on. So yeah, the chair will go in there later, and I'll have a nice little jog to the rods as and when hopefully we get a fish. Right, it's shortly after 10 o'clock. Been quite a slow first few hours, obviously trying to find new spots in a new part of the lake, but I've managed to just get a run go. Started off as a few beeps and then quickly accelerated into a full sort of screaming run. So he's just kiting hard left under my other rod at the moment. He's going to try and get in the reeds down by my left. Nice looking common, not overly big I don't think, no, but he's a fish. First one in a new spot, so as with all commons, doing most of the fighting down by your rod tip. It's in the net. Managed to tangle my other line up, so this could get a bit interesting, but we'll get him out and show you what we've got. He actually looks a better fish than I first thought as well. Right, we got him in the net. It's just gone 15 pound 10 ounces. Lovely golden common. Really big mouth on this one as well. He was, when I took the hook out, could have fit 3 or 4 more boilies in there quite comfortably. So just giving me a little slap, as they all do in here. They like to put up a hell of a fight, both in the water and then again out of it, but it's quite warm, so we'll get this one back. But nice way to start the trip. It's got just a little bit of a strange appendage on its tail, which will be fairly unique. Certainly will help to identify that fish later on, but yeah, nice fish. We'll get him back, see if we can get another one out, and obviously sort the mess out it's made. Well, he certainly weren't hanging around. Right, it's just gone 11:30. I've got another fish on, another slow take. It certainly wasn't a screaming run this one, but went into drop back eventually, and when I picked it up and struck into it, or caught up to it, we've got a carp on. So again, it's trying to make its way around the corner, so I'm having to try and get it back out in front of me. This one's a mirror carp, I've just seen it. Doing his best to bury himself in the reeds. And just get him to stop going around in circles, get a breath of air. We can hopefully get him in the net. Get in. got him. Right, we got him in. Just weighed him. Gone 16 pounds, 14 ounces. It's a little bit bigger than that common. And he's another lovely scaly mirror carp. So we'll get some pictures of this one, get it back, see if we can get some more out. Temperatures on the rise, but the fish are still feeding, so it's all good. Well, they're certainly not hanging around. They're very quick to get back to where they want to be. Right, it's just gone 12 o'clock. Both rods are now back out on the spots. That right hand rod, I've just refreshed the bait and changed the rig over. The hook was a little bit blunted after that fish, so I've put a brand new razor sharp hook on. See if we can't get some more. They're still showing themselves out on the spots. What I have done is baited up just in the edge here as well. I've seen a few carp swim past, literally almost under the rod tips, but certainly just where the line's going into the water. So I've put some baits down in the edge here. I'm going to leave those for a bit, and if I get any carp come in and start feeding on that spot, I may well add a little bit more bait once they've gone, and then stick my left hand rod on it, because that one's not doing too much at the moment. Again, it's the right hand rod over to the edge of the island there. Talking of fish showing themselves, that's done both of the bites so far and had all the interest. The left hand rod hasn't had anything, so I'm going to change that one up in a bit, try somewhere different location, see if we can't get both of them going. Well, that didn't take very long at all. That's been back out on the spot 4 or 5 minutes. We've got another screaming run, so doesn't feel particularly big, this one, but he's another fish. Hopefully we can get this one in without it trashing the other lines. The moment I move the rod, it goes darting the other way. Right, off we go going round and round and round in circles 20 times. I've got him in the net, so we'll get this one weighed up. Looks a similar sort of sized fish. I'll show you what we got. Alright, number 3 of the session. Say, only been out in the water for 5 minutes or so. And our reward is a 15-pound 5-ounce mirror carp. Another nice scaly one. We'll get some pictures of this one and get that back in the water again. See if we can get another one, but it's another one off that krill rod, so they're definitely liking that today. But number 3, it's just gone midday. Right, it's just gone 1:45 and another screaming run off that krill rod again. It's doing the usual of running me all over the lake backwards and forwards. Picking up the other line quite merrily. It's a nice sized fish, this one. I can just get it to stop whipping backwards and forwards between my lines. I'm just going to have to sort the mess out, I think, and get it in the net and then worry about everything else in a bit. Right, I think the camera probably, or battery gave up halfway through that fight, so you probably didn't see the full shenanigans of me trying to get this thing in the net, but I did get it in the net, finally. He went 22 pounds and 1 ounce. Come here. Another nice mirror. Another one into the 20s. But he gave me a hell of a fight, left and right, in the reeds, tangled my rods together. I'm going to have to strip them down and completely start again, I think, but we did get him in, and that's our reward. So we'll get some pictures of this one, get it back, get the rods set up again, get them back out on those spots. Right, it's just gone 1:30, and after an absolute train wreck trying to get that last fish in, I've basically had to set up both of the rods again. It was rather than mess around trying to untangle it and probably have weakened line anyway, I just cut the line off, started again, set both rods back up, and they're both back out on their spots now. So right hand rod, the krill rod is about 2/3 of the way across over to the right hand side of the island. and the left hand rod I've put about 25 yards out, 30 yards out max. Just a little overarm cast into the depths there. It is quite deep around here, and that seems to be where I'm getting the bite, so that's where I'm going to keep fishing. But both rods are out. It's roasting hot, so I'm now fully sort of set up in the shelter, just trying to keep out of the sun as much as possible. But 4 fish so far. That last one was a better stamp of fish, so let's hope we can get a few more. And get a few more in the 20s. Right, it's just gone 2:30, and we've got some storm clouds starting to build. You can hear some rumbles of thunder in the distance. Fortunately, it's obviously covered the sun up, which means the temperature is that much more bearable at the moment. It's very muggy though, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if we don't get a few spots of rain shortly, which certainly wouldn't be a bad thing. If we can just keep the lightning away from us for now, that would be great, but I certainly wouldn't say no to a bit of a downpour. Haven't had anything further on the rods for probably about an hour or so now, hour and a half. I might give them a little bit of a freshen up shortly. See how we go. I think we might be due some nasty weather. The wind has suddenly picked up. There wasn't any wind 5 minutes ago, and now all of a sudden it's got very dark. Wasn't really what I was expecting today. Maybe should have paid a little bit more attention to the weather forecast, but we now have thunder and lightning overhead. Suddenly very, very breezy, and as you can see, absolutely hammering it down. So, of course, this is when I'll get a run, hopefully. Right, the rain has at least eased off a bit, but it does sound like I've got 20 fighter jets flying around overhead. It's just constant thunder. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up or not, but it is just non-stop. And my swim is now a bit of a paddling pool. 10 minutes of downpour and hail. And it's transformed into a dry, dusty bowl, now a sopping wet mud bath. Right, it's just gone 3:30. There's a few more people on the lake now. I'm assuming they turned up just before that mass downpour, but yeah, there's a couple over there. Got a couple of kids with them. There's a couple of guys down the bank with a couple of kids, and they're doing a bit of float fishing and a little bit off the bottom as well. but it's all change again. We've got cloudy skies, but the wind's completely gone. Obviously the rain has eased up or stopped now. Hopefully that little bit of downpour will put a bit of oxygen in the water. Might bring the fish on the feed again, but for now I've put both rods out long now. So the left hand rod is out towards the island, about 2/3, 3/4 of the way across, and the right hand rod is a bit further out again, aiming to the sort of the right of the island. So where I've had the 4 fish from, the left hand rod I'm just trying to get something happening on. They just don't want to know on that rod today. Everything's come on the krill rod. Now whether that's just the placement of the rod or whether that is them just preferring that bait today. Previously it's been, vast majority has been manila, but whether it's just that location that's the preference rather than the bait. That's why I'm testing these things out. At the moment it very much looks like the location is the preference, but we'll see. We might get some interest on the left hand rod yet, so got another 4 hours or so yet, assuming I sort of stay till the end. Oh, and we might be about to get a run on the right hand rod. There's definitely interest. We'll see if that develops. Right, it's just gone 4 o'clock. I've noticed a couple of the reeds on my left hand side being bashed about, which was where I'd put some of the boilies earlier. There's a bit of a trap that I'm setting up for them, and when I had a look, there was a couple of tails pointing up at the surface, which means obviously head is down on the bottom, and they were feeding on the pellets and the boilies that I dropped down there. So I've waited for them to leave the area. I actually saw them sort of push through the reeds there, so I've just put some more boilies down, and my left hand rod I've put basically down on the bottom with a little PVA stick around it, and obviously fishing totally slack lines. I'm hoping them or another one will come through, find the bait again, and hopefully pick up my rig. So that trap is now very much set. I'm going to leave that there till I pack up, unless obviously I get a fish. But it'll be interesting to see if they do come back and we can snag one from right in the margins here. Right, well it worked. Right in the middle of the downpour. The Left hand rod went absolutely crazy, and we had a very angry mirror on the line. It's a decent enough fish as well, so that little trap down in the edge. It's done the job. And just hope we can get it in. Because it is still going really quite mental at the moment. Let's face it, if it was going to go off, it was going to go off when it was absolutely hammering it down. Got him. What a result that is. Perfectly laid little trap. It's taken them 25 minutes, half hour, something like that, to get hold of it. Quite a good size fish as well, so we'll get this one out, get him weighed up, and show you what we've got. Right, the reward for that little rig in the side. This is 16 pound 10-ounce mirror in the pouring rain after an absolutely savage bite. Not unsurprisingly, given that it's only about 6 or 7 feet away, but even under the rod tips, we're able to get the fish out. So we'll get some pictures of this one, and yeah, I think we'll just get some pictures of this one because he's going to still got a bit of energy. A couple of quick pics, get this back, see if we can get another one out. Right, it's just gone 5:10, so we've got about 2.5 hours or so left. Both rods are back out on the spots. So the left hand rod is back down just by that reed there. It's only about 2 feet deep, 2.5 feet deep, but it's deep enough for a carp to feed on, as we found out. The right hand rod is back out in the middle. I've just put a fresh bait on that one because it was, when I reeled it in, that one had been pulled around a little bit during the previous fight. When I reeled it in, the rig had tangled up a little bit, and the bait wasn't much use anymore, so fresh bait on that one as well, back out on the spot. Right, just gone 20 to 6. Unfortunately lost that common, you can see from the footage, right at the net. The usual common fight, goes round and round in circles, right under the rod tip for 10 minutes, and just when you think you're going to get it in, one last turn and it manages to throw the hook. And so it looked mid-double at best, so I'm not overly disappointed. That's a hell of a show. It would have been nice obviously to get the 6th fish and another common, but if you're going to lose them, at least lose the smaller ones. But rod's back out on the spot. That was the krill rod again. So we'll see if we can't nick another bite yet. I've got carp right over my left hand rod spot. I've got the reeds being bashed around. I've actually watched one carp swim right past my line and into the spot. I've had a few tweaks of the line on the left hand rod. So they're definitely in there on the spot feeding. It's just a case of picking my bait up or not. I could be here for 25 minutes or I could be here for 10 seconds and it could just suddenly rip off. Seeing them swimming and directly over your spot, knowing it's only a couple of feet deep. Could literally be any second, or not at all. Well, about 20 seconds after losing that one in the margin, the right hand rod's gone screaming off. It's certainly not giving me this 6th fish easily, but hopefully this time we'll get lucky. So I watched that one in the margin basically swam under my rod tip, went straight out the bait. I was like, if he doesn't get that, it'll be a miracle. I then saw his tail come up, and within a second the rod was screaming off. Unfortunately, said lost that one. Pulled the hook on the right hand side, but within 30 seconds the right hand rod's gone off, so let's give it a good run around as well. Unfortunately, it's another one of the commons that's going to come in close and fight for 10 minutes under the rod tip. Right now, I'd rather have a fish that did all its fighting out in the middle somewhere. It's only a small common, but I don't want to give up. Number 6. Just weighed it, it's gone 14.5 pounds, which I'm guessing is about the size of the one I lost as well. They look very similar in the water. But we finally got number 6 after about 4 aborted runs or mistakes or lost fish. So number 6 on the bank. It's probably about 6:30, so I've got about another hour. So I'm going to get the rod back out quickly, see if we can't nick another one. We got there in the end. Right, possibly the weirdest bite I've had. It was up and down, up, down, up, down. I went in to drop back, so I decided I would finally pick it up and hit it. Got something on, but it's pretty small, whatever it is. Either that or it just hasn't woken up. Oh, and it's come off now anyway. Straight into the reeds. Well, that was different.